name is Ross Gray,
And I'm Ryan Bourne.
and this is the Social Skim brought to you by Cloud Campaign. Cloud Campaign is the easiest way to manage social media. This week, it's a relatively busy week. I'm sorry about our absence last week. So we got a lot of stories to cover today. And the first one is that Facebook has released ad archive APIs.
And so what does that do? Does that allow developers to kind of dig through old ads and kind of see what different companies are running?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually part of their ongoing transparency effort. Their statement read, "We're making advertising more transparent to help prevent abuse on Facebook, especially during elections. Today, we're starting to roll out the Ad Archive API so researchers and journalists can more easily analyze Facebook ads related to politics or issues of national importance."
It seems like good timing with the midterms coming up, and I'm sure Facebook is just looking for more help in terms of like auditing the platform and making sure no one's doing anything suspicious. So it's, I guess, a good idea to somewhat open source it and allow researchers or developers do their own kind of research on all the ads that are being ran.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why they're working with publishers, academics, and researchers on exactly how to improve and what to include in these APIs. The whole goal is that you're constantly inundated with these various political ads, and now you can figure out who's running them and why.
It's funny though, because like Facebook and Instagram are so limiting with their APIs in other regards in terms of like publishing and especially accessing user data for user protection. So it's funny to see like them closing down the API in some regards, but then opening it up for others.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. So our next story is that Facebook is targeting a page sharing scheme, which I didn't realize how prevalent this was. Have you heard about this?
No, what is that?
So it's basically that there were, I guess they call them content farmers. And what they would do is get in touch with Facebook page managers and ask them to join some type of content sharing program with the promise of, getting their content out there. And then they would use these pages to push lots of branded content. Basically what their statement read is, over the past few months, we've made updates to our pages and our branded content policies, banning pages and profiles from accepting compensation for systematically sharing large amounts of third-party content. So they're just trying to stop from people pushing out so much just empty content.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like it would just kind of ruin the whole ecosystem, especially if they're able to do it on a broader scale by, publishing through actually authentic pages, people just not actually realizing what's going on. You mentioned compensation. Did it sound like these pages were paying other pages to publish their content?
It sounds like that may have been a possibility. I mean, it was, obviously referenced right there in their statement. They did talk about some pretty bad repercussions. If they identify your page as being involved in a sharing scheme, they're going to greatly reduce the amount of distribution that page will see.
If it already wasn't low enough to begin with, right?
Yeah, exactly. um, so the next story is that Facebook Watch is going global. So this was something they released in the United States about a year ago, and it's been really popular. There's been over 50 million in the US alone spending at least a minute a month on it. And so now they're just going to open up to the whole world.
I actually use this feature weekly. There's like some shows that I really like that are only on Facebook Watch. I guess not really shows, but more like webisodes or vlogs. So I definitely see the value there. I will say though, considering how much data Facebook has on us, they're doing a pretty poor job about recommending TV shows for me. Like it has the autoplay feature, and it'll play something that I choose and that I like, and then it'll go into like just some random video that I have no idea why they chose that for me.
That's interesting. I wonder how they decide. For those who might not know, Facebook describes Facebook Watch as a place to discover new videos, a way to catch up with creators and publishers you love, a home for your saved videos, and videos you can participate in. So that is their description of the functionality of Facebook Watch.
It's like similar to YouTube, right? It's kind of just bringing YouTube onto Facebook and making it slightly more social.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So our next story is that Facebook has removed Myanmar military officials, and this is, not necessarily relevant to the global, I guess, social media hub as far as it's, affecting other networks and whatnot. However, it's, anytime Facebook is removing an entire sector of military officials, I felt like it was something we should cover. In total, they're removing 18 Facebook accounts on Instagram and Facebook, and 52 Facebook pages, which were followed by over 12 million people.
Wow. Was it behavior on Facebook or more offline that caused them to remove all those accounts?
It was both. In the skim, I did provide some examples that Facebook released from the accounts that they banned. But it was definitely a mixture of their human rights abuses that Facebook details, as well as, I guess, activities they were participating in online. Facebook said in their statement, "We continue to work to prevent misuse of Facebook in Myanmar, including through the independent human right impact assessment we commissioned earlier in the year."
It's cool to see that Facebook is staying so active and really trying to make a difference worldwide and not just kind of focused on micro communities. I mean, we so often hear, like, especially in Silicon Valley, that all these tech companies live in a bubble and don't really ever see outside of it. And it seems like Facebook is really trying to have global impact. So, it's cool that they have that scope within mind.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that Facebook could be used for some good, and it looks like they're trying to do that.
Agreed.
So our next story is that LinkedIn has updated its job search. So the new functionality will include new search experience, remote job search, and updates to LinkedIn salary search. I don't know if you've heard about this at all.
I haven't heard about the salary search, but yeah, I mean, I'm slightly familiar with the job search. It makes sense that they're kind of expanding on that just because, one, they obviously have so much data, and two, like, it's obviously a great revenue driver for them, because, most employers have to pay for job listings or to promote their job listings. So that's a good way good way for LinkedIn to diversify their revenue streams. I like that they're doing it though, because at least in my experience, traditionally, the job searching has kind of been one way where it's just recruiters spamming me over LinkedIn. But this seems like I can more actively search for employment if I wanted to now on the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. They're saying that it will more prominently display important information such as company size, number of applicants, and potential network connections right at the top of the page. And there's some pictures in there to describe that. The salary search, LinkedIn salary search, looks really cool. I think for those who are planning on joining a company and being there for an extended period of time, it's really important information. What it does is it will outline, what the various salary levels are for different positions within the company. And so if you're joining there and you're saying, well, look, where am I going to be 5 years from now, depending on the job I can work my way up to, you can kind of see what that will look like.
Is that similar to Glassdoor? Are you familiar with that?
I haven't used Glassdoor much, so I can't comment, unfortunately.
Okay, because I know Glassdoor has something similar. They kind of have two sides to it, where you have reviews of employers, and then they also have like the salaries where people sort of give you the breakdown of like their base salary and then compensation with equity and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense for LinkedIn to add that. I'm just curious, like, how many people are willing to share their salary information? I'm guessing it's all anonymized though, right?
I'm not totally sure about that. I mean, if you look at the pictures, it isn't necessarily talking about individuals. It just says, Microsoft software engineer salary, $138 a year.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's great information to have.
Yeah. And the other thing they added is a remote job search functionality. They actually quoted a Gallup poll survey, which said that 43% of U.S. professionals spent time working remotely last year.
43%?
43%, yeah.
That's insane. I would never have guessed that. I mean, we're a full remote team, and I know there are more and more companies popping up like that, but I wouldn't expect the number to be that high already.
Yeah, it isn't saying that there's 43% that are working full-time remotely, but just that do occasionally spend time working remotely. And so they're allowing users to basically specify that they are looking for remote jobs.
Okay. Yeah, it almost goes like along with the trend. I was listening to a podcast this morning talking about WeWork, and I think they're valued at like 16 billion now. And that
Jeez.
just kind of shows the trend that more and more companies and more employees are kind of moving away from the traditional, corporate building and kind of working from different locations. So that just kind of echoes it.
Definitely. Another story is that Twitter has announced new U.S. ads policy. This is part of, again, the ongoing transparency effort. They're targeting ads that refer to any election or clearly identified candidate, or ads that advocate for legislative issues of national importance. So they gave a lot of examples as to what these could be, some of which included abortion, civil rights, climate change, guns, healthcare, immigration, national security, taxes, etc.
Are they fully limiting those ads on Twitter, or are they just being more restrictive?
So they're being much more restrictive. They're really upping the vetting process. So for those who are wanting to promote these issue ads, as they call them, they're going to have to go through a new certification process, which establishes their exact identity as well as where they are within the United States.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, sounds similar to kind of what Facebook has been doing over the past few months, but that's cool that they're also taking an initiative.
Yeah, the one exemption is for news agencies that have already gone through some form of vetting, just because they want news agencies, I guess, to be able to act a little more freely.
Yeah, and you also kind of want breaking news to be able to be released quickly, especially if it's something that needs to be timely.
Yep. So our next story is that Snapchat has added Bounce, which is basically identical to Instagram's Boomerang. You know that they are constantly copying each other. So that's just a new feature they added this week.
It's the never-ending back and forth battle between Snapchat and Instagram.
Yes, there's definitely some love lost after the buyout fiasco.
Yeah.
This is a cool story. Facebook has launched new fundraising tools. So what it's going to do is allow creators to either work together or individually have just next to their video an area for users to be able to donate to whatever fundraiser they want to raise money for. At this point in time, 100% of the proceeds are going to whichever fund it is. Facebook is covering, or YouTube is covering the cost of it. It seems like a great feature.
Oh, that seems awesome. I mean, you brought it up a couple weeks ago, just how much money has been raised through the Facebook birthday fundraisers. Do you remember how much that was? It was like
300 million, I believe.
Yeah. And so that just shows you, how powerful it can be if everyone just makes a really small donation. And like, I would imagine people are more likely to make a donation after seeing a video, like for an injured pet that needs surgery or a family member or something like that. So that's really cool that YouTube's adding that functionality, and even better that they're not taking a cut of the money for the time being.
Yeah, and they also allow it in live streams. It'll just pop up next to your feed, which is really cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
They said that there's over 1.8 billion monthly active users. So there's definitely, huge room for significant impact here.
Yeah, no, very much so. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this week. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for the most up-to-date social media news. Find us on iTunes and wherever else podcasts live.
And while you're there, go ahead and leave us a quick review. We read every single one of them, and they help us make the show better each week, so we really appreciate it. And it also helps people find the show easier.
Thank you so much. See you next week.
This show is brought to you by Cloud Campaign, commentary by Ross Gray and Ryan Bourne, original music produced by Daniel Rosenfeld, and extended version composed by Discovered. See you next week for another episode of The Social Skim.